Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. We are here for our live, third live out of four. So we've got one more after this. Can't believe how quickly this month is going. So as always, pop on, let me know how you are doing. Share this, tag people, whatever you can to get this out there. Because today we are going to cover a really important topic, which is anxiety and wellbeing tools for anxiety. As always, we are here for Mind and we are here to raise money for Mind. I've got my other half who will be posting links in the comments. Please, if you can, donate to Mind. That's what these lives are for. If you get any value in any of the information, please pop them a donation over for Suicide Prevent. One in four of us will experience poor mental health each year. One in 15 of us will try to commit suicide in our lifetime. So this is a really important topic. This is why we are doing these lives, is to raise money for that amazing charity. So please donate. As I say, Tim will be joining in the comments, popping links, and he'll pop that link in there for you shortly. So today we are going to look at wellbeing tools for anxiety. So let's get started. So let's start with anxiety in general. So again, I am not a professional. I am not a doctor. Please do go and seek advice if you need it. I'm going to talk from personal experience. So anxiety is when we are in that fight or flight mode, when our brain is trying to predict the future, where it's trying to tell us, oh, this will happen if you do this and this will happen if you do that. So it's all very fear based. And that's sort of where it tries to go. We all experience some kind of anxiety in our lives. There's the smaller things like going for a job interview, maybe you've got a test coming up, or there's just a big change in your life, and that can all bring a little bit of anxiety. When it starts to become a problem is when we are experiencing this on a daily basis, where everything is fear based and we are worried constantly about what's going to happen, and it can cause all sorts of different issues and problems. So what we're going to do is going to look at wellbeing tools today that will help you support you with anxiety, help take you out of that mindset, out of that fear-based. And I have been there. We talked a little bit about my story previously, but I was highly anxious. I didn't know at the time. I didn't know what anxiety was. I assumed this is what everybody felt all of the time. And you feel very isolated. You feel like you can't speak out because no one's going to help you, and that negative voice ramps up a lot and tells you all the things you shouldn't do and why you shouldn't do them. But there are tools out there. There are things that you can do. Obviously, there are the bigger therapies that if you need that intense support, then that's when you need to sort of look into it. Obviously, you can get medication from the doctors as well, and that is nothing to be ashamed of whatsoever. At the end of the day, it's there to support you. There's a lot of people with PTSD and things like that that get very anxious, and this and medication can help them. And there are lots of other types of therapies that can do the same. As you know, with my own story, hypnotherapy is what did it for me. That's what got me through that period, that turned that negative voice off, and then allowed me to use all these other wellbeing tools to get to where I am today and to continue looking after my mental health in a more positive way. So I'm going to talk to you about a few of them. Some of them are dealing with the conscious brain. So it takes practice, it takes you sort of working through these things and doing them. And others work a little bit like hypnotherapy, working a little bit with the subconscious, that really get in there and help us to start rewiring our brain and moving away from those anxious thoughts. Again, if you've got any questions as we go through, pop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if I can answer them, I will do. We'll be sharing links throughout with all the different things and places to look at. So yeah, feel free to get on and do that. So I want to start off by talking about the wonderful Martha Beck. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She's written lots of books, and she was recently on the We Can Do Hard Things podcast with Glennon Doyle. I know I talk about this one a lot, but it's really good. So yeah, she did 2 episodes where she talked a little bit about anxiety. Her new book that's out is called Beyond Anxiety. Not one I've got yet, but it is one that I will be looking at. And she talks about consciously going through your sort of mind and changing those thoughts. So the first episode, she's talking all about anxiety, how it affects you, etc. And in the second episode, she works with Glennon, Abby, and Amanda to help them with one of their anxious thoughts and go through the process of how you can get out of that latched on thinking and going down that path by just, a few questioning things to sort of bring you back into a bit of a reality check, really, and sort of really, is this really going to happen? That type of thing. So hopefully Tim will post the link to that in the comments shortly, and you can have a go and listen to that. Again, have a look at her book; it's brilliant. One of the people who I followed very early on in my well, as I was just getting into hypnotherapy and everything, was Chloe Brotheridge. So Chloe is a fellow hypnotherapist, but she focuses on anxiety. This was the book I read of hers, The Anxiety Solution. Fantastic book. She talks about her own experience with anxiety and lots of different tools and exercises that you can do to sort of get yourself through. As you can see from all of these lovely stickers and bits in, there are a lot of exercises in there. So these orange ones are all the sort of exercises she runs through. I'll read a little bit at the back just so you can sort of see the kind of thing that she's talking about. So, I know what it's like to be stuck in a cycle of anxiety. I used to feel as though fear and worry were a permanent part of who I was, but I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be this way. The truth is, your natural state is one of the calmest and most confident, and I'm going to teach you how to get there. She does have in this book, you do get links to some hypnotherapy recordings, which was one of the first things, first experiences other than the training that I'd had of hypnotherapy. And I listened to them and they were absolutely amazing. I do still have them and I listen to them whenever I feel the need to. She's got a lovely, sort of relaxing voice and it really, really helps out. She also has a website, the Calming You website, where she's got some free resources on there as well. Tim will pop the link in the notes for you. Um, Again, lots of anxiety work that she does. She gives a lot of freebies away in terms of supporting yourself with anxiety, because this is the main thing she looks at. She is all over the socials as well. She's got a podcast of her own, the Calm You podcast, which again is worth listening out for. She dips in and out of talking about anxiety and various other things as well. She gets some experts on, some people that have been through the situation, but she does do a lot of podcasts where it's purely just giving you tools to work through your anxiety. So Chloe Brotheridge, um, spelled Brotheridge. Yeah. So have a check that out. She's fantastic. So yeah, so there are a couple of people to sort of get you going with in terms of support with anxiety and to sort of give you a direction. There are lots and lots of things that are out there. The main thing with anxiety is it's about bringing you into the present moment. It's about rewiring that brain to and really thinking about the language that you're using and stopping those thoughts and going, right, okay, I'm anxious about this. Clearly, it's acknowledging that you're anxious about this and then working your way through it. There's a fantastic technique called RAIN. And there's a wonderful lady that deals with it. I'm trying to remember what her name is. It's not coming to me right now, but Tim's going to post the link to her site at some point for you to have a look. So, RAIN is a technique that you can do consciously to work through your anxious thoughts. So, the R stands for recognize. So, think of a thought that you've got coming up, an anxious thought. Let's work our way through. So, R is to recognize what it is. What is it you're feeling right at this moment? How are you feeling? Really think through it. A is accept. Let it be. Just let the feeling sit there. Yeah. Acknowledge it's there. Accept it. So often we try and push these feelings away because we want to get it over with. Sometimes you just need to let it be. Just let it be with that feeling in that moment. Investigate is the next one. Why am I feeling this way? Why do I feel like this? So have a think what's happened. Has something triggered it? Has someone said something to you? Are you thinking a lot about a thing you've got to do that's just worrying you? Why? Why are you feeling like this at this moment? Why has it come up? And the last one is N, which is nurture. So it's recognizing that you're having this feeling, but the feeling is not you. It is just that. It is just a feeling. You are in control. You do not have to go with that feeling. You can just, it's not a part of you. It's separate from you. So that's Rain. It's a fantastic technique. She does go in a lot more detail. That's it. Tara Brack, that's the name. Tara Brack. She does go in a lot more detail on her website, and you can get all sorts of different things like images, posters, and stuff that you can have up just to remind you. But this is a really good conscious technique to sort of get you really thinking about what it is that you are feeling anxious about and why, and working your way through it. Very similar to the what Martha Beck's going to do in that podcast. It's that reality check. Is this actually going to happen? Is these worst fears that I've got really going to go through? Is it helping? Does it really help having these thoughts? You know, are you going to save the world by it? No, no, of course we're not. No, it's not the case. So, yeah, so rain is a fantastic technique to look at, a fantastic conscious technique. And as I say, the link is there, Tara Brack. Please go and check that out because it is really, really interesting and a fantastic way to sort of help start breaking down those anxious thoughts. And there are other modalities as well. As I say, we talked a little bit about hypnotherapy. Obviously, there are talking therapies. There's EMDR, which is an eye movement therapy, which is basically moving from the left side to the right side of your brain. And in doing that, it sort of takes you out of that anxious moment. So if you want to have a look a little bit more at EMDR, which is the eye movement therapy, please do go check that out. I've had a little bit of a talk on it, and we can build it in a little bit to in some of the techniques with a one-to-one tapping session or EFT session, where basically we do a part of it where we're moving from the left side to the right side of the brain to just get that to sink in, to just get that switch out of that anxious sort of mode. So yeah, EMDR, please go have a look at that. Whew. So we talked a little bit as well previously about ifs, internal family systems. So again, that's a little bit of parts there. There's a part of you feeling this way. That could also be quite helpful for anything like this. This is if you want to dig in deep and get to the bottom of these anxieties and really shift them off. So they're sort of the bigger alternative therapies to have a look at. However, there are still lots of other things that you can do that are just mindfulness or well-being techniques that can help you cope day to day. Yeah. So we're going to look a little bit more about them. So let's start off with mindfulness, shall we? So mindfulness is about paying attention. It's about being in the present moment. And what that does is that sort of allows our nervous system to calm down. If you're in the present moment, you're not panicking about the future. You're not worrying about what's coming up, which is what anxiety is and what anxiety is doing. So there are lots and lots of ways that we can do this and we can build this into our day. So I'm just going to talk about a few of them now, and hopefully if you've got any suggestions of any of the things I mentioned, feel free to mention them in the comments and share with everybody, because the more we can help each other, the better. So mindfulness. So walking. You can do mindfulness walking. What is that? Everybody's saying it's just walking, isn't it? No, it's not. First of all, being out in nature is massively helpful to our well-being as well, not just physically for getting the fresh air and the movement in our bodies, but it's also really, really good to just be out there, and it calms our nervous system down. You can add a mindful walk into this, where basically you are walking and what you are doing is to focus you on the present moment. Start thinking about what you're doing. So start with your feet. So think about your feet, how they're walking, the sound they're making, the movement, one foot in front of the other. And you focus on that for a few minutes. Then maybe move up your body. Right, my legs, what are my legs doing? And just work your way up your body as you're doing this mindful walk, focusing on different body parts, how they're moving, how they're affecting you, what it feels like. Maybe this sounds, bring all your senses into it as much as you can. But as you're on this mindful walk, what it's doing is it is bringing you to that present moment, focusing on what you are currently doing rather than going off down that anxious thought path. Another one that you can do that's sort of a mindful walk is focusing on what's around you as well. So we talked about those five things that you can do. So five things you see, four things you hear, three things that you feel, two things. It's just using all your senses. Yeah, it's working your way down. So we've talked about that previously. So you could do something silly. You could either do that technique or you can look around and notice what's around you. So focusing on the ground beneath your feet, what does that feel like? Maybe if you're moving from gravel to grass to pavement, it all feels and sounds very different. Also think about when what's around you. Look and see what there is. There's the birds, there's the sky, there's the lovely scenery that you've got around you. The sounds, what can you hear? Can you hear traffic? Can you hear children playing? Can you hear birds? You know, it's bringing all those senses in and paying attention to what's around you. If you're doing this, again, you are concentrating on that current moment, where you are in your body, present moment, and that's one of the other techniques. We've got breath work. So, breath work, there's so many different kinds of things you can do with breath work, but once again, it is bringing you back to that present moment, back to yourself. So there's lots of different kinds. So there's the box breathing. So just imagine a box. So you breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4, hold it for 4, and just repeat that as many times as you need to. Again, you can imagine it with the picture frame, concentrate and focus on something like that. There's lots of apps out there as well that sort of help with different breathing techniques. Um, there's the long breath and short breath. So that is breathing in for 3, breathing out for 6. Just repeating that a few times. And again, what were you doing? You're getting the oxygen into your body, it's oxygenating all your blood, it's making everything sort of move and working for you that way. It's also calming that nervous system down. Quite often smokers think that when they go outside and it's the cigarette and the nicotine that's calming them, it's not, it's the breath in that's doing it. So when people want to quit smoking, that's one of the things to try is rather than going out and having a cigarette, it's going out and having taking those breaths because it is that breath that is calming you. Usually they want to do it because the stressful situations happened. Oh, I need to go and have a cig. Go out, it's actually the breath that is making that difference. So, you know, if you need to do that, if you are in a stressful situation, step away from it, stand outside and go and breathe for a bit. That's all you need to do. Nobody needs to know anything about it. It's something you can do quite quietly. Nobody realizes you're doing it, and just take those breaths to just calm yourself and relax. There's lots of other breath work out there, and it is a whole other alternative therapy in itself. You can actually get breathwork instructions that go into a lot more detail and do long periods of breath work, which can really have a massive impact on your well-being and your mental health. Fern Cotton has talked about this a lot in a lot of her work that she's done. I think she's gone on a few different breath works, and there's a lady that she follows, um, all focusing around breath work. It's absolutely amazing. It's something I'm a lot very really interested in. I mean, think about it. When we're in an anxious state, when we're panicked, we have shortened breath. You know, it's that kind of thing. So you know, we're not catching our breath. So it's amazing to realize that we're not actually breathing properly. So by doing some of these breathwork techniques, it's just allowing yourself to do that properly, to learn a little bit more, taking in those breaths and just relaxing a bit, getting the oxygen in your body, and it will calm your nervous system greatly. But yeah, if you've got any recommendations for anybody that does breath work, please do pop them in the comments because it's worth sharing and finding out a lot about more of it. There's bound to be some in your local areas, um, all over the internet, Instagram in particular. But yeah, go check that out, breath work. And of course, there's lots of apps out there as well, you know, that you don't have to pay for. They do have free versions like Headspace, for example, and Calm, and even some smartwatches. I think my smartwatch has a breathing exercise on it for me to do, that sort of calms me. Um, Again, I mentioned the other day, I think Fiton's one of the ones I do. It's supposed to be an exercise app, but there's a meditation section on there, and it has everything from affirmations, breath work, I think it even has some hypnotherapy sessions on there, including meditations. And a lot of meditations do involve some kind of breath work anyway and do bring you to the moment. So meditations are another really great tool that you can use. I would suggest if you're starting off, guided meditations are probably going to be the best thing because they give you something to focus on to bring you back into that present moment. So yes, we've done quite a few of those. So meditations are a great way. There's apps, there's things on the internet. I've got quite a few as well. Again, Tim will probably post some that just sort of helps calm yourself, allows yourself to come back to yourself, concentrates on that breathing. It incorporates so many different things that will help you with anxiety and help you calm and relax. So apps, check them out. Again, recommendations, pop them in the comments for us. That'd be fantastic. Another one is to try is body scans. So there's two different ways that you can do a body scan. This will allow you to come back to the present moment. It will allow you to pay more attention to sort of how your body really is feeling. So there's two you can do. The first one, you need to sit yourself down, have your feet planted on the floor so you are grounded and you are ready. Take a nice deep breath and just work your way down your body. Start off by focusing on your breathing. If any of you want to do this as we are going along now, feel free. Just close those eyes, take a nice deep breath, and just allow your breathing to just return to its normal way of breathing. And just focus on that breathing. Focus how it feels in your nose as you're breathing in. Paying attention to how the chest rests and falls, and that stomach goes in and out, inflating and deflating. Focus to the feel of that as it goes through your system. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to work your way down your body. And we're going to concentrate on each body part. Starting with the tips of your toes. I want you to just feel the tips of your toes now. Feel them wiggling. Focus on them. Just allow them to rest and relax. Moving up to your feet and your ankles. Just allowing those parts to relax as we focus our attention on them now. Working your way up those calves to the tops of your legs. Just feeling those muscles. Focusing and allowing them to rest in a natural position. As you continue to breathe, with each breath, those muscles relaxing more and more. Keep working your way up your body, the stomach, the chest, like a wave of relaxation. It flows up your back, down those arms. Maybe you want to wiggle those fingers, relaxing each and every muscle. Up past your neck, your jaw. Just relaxing that jaw now. Removing the tongue from the roof of your mouth. As you continue to breathe. That's it. To the cheekbones and under the eyes. Concentrating, focusing on those muscles and allowing them to relax too. Right to the top of your head. Concentrate on the muscles in your forehead. Just allow them to rest and relax. As you do, just notice the sounds around you now. Maybe a clock ticking, family or colleagues or friends in the background. And when you're ready, just come back to your body and open your eyes. And that is just a really quick body scan. Now, there is another form of that. You can do something similar, but instead, as you're going through your body, you tense the muscles, hold that for a few seconds, and then relax them, and do that with each muscle as you're working your way up your body. So that's another one to sort of do. So we talked about the breathing techniques before. So how does that work? So it helps calm, it slows the respiratory system down, it gives you reflection time, it rebalances that parasympathetic system, and it tells your mind that everything's okay. So we looked at the box breathing, and we did the short breaths, and we did the breathe, and there's also breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 8. So that's another one you can build in. There's lots of other relaxation techniques as well. And what the relaxation techniques do is they connect you to yourself. They give you that time to just be rather than be in your mind. And the apps work very similar. So Headspace, for example, they have a lovely one on there where they talk about your thoughts, seeing it like a river, and your thoughts are going by. And what you can either do is you can either jump on that thought and go along with it, and then that's what causes all the stress and the anxiety gets all worse, or you can just let it pass. And it's a practice to do, letting those thoughts just pass on by. You don't have to latch onto them. You can just acknowledge it. Thank you for that, but you're okay, and let it move on. It is a practice. So don't think you're going to be perfect. And you may jump on those thoughts quite quickly, but it's something to test out, something to try and play around with and see what works for you. So relaxation techniques. So we just did one there with the progressive muscle relaxation or the body scan. We talked about another one before. So the grounding technique, where I said 5 things you see, 4 things you smell, 3 things you hear, 2 things you can touch, and 1 thing you can taste. That's a good one. I do have a couple of cards that I give out with that on for people when they're out and about, so you can just have it in your purse. And if anything happens, you're feeling a little bit panicked, get that out, just walk your way through it. Again, I've got posters of it and things like that, so I can send any of them out. If anybody fancies them, drop me a message and let me know. It's a really good thing to sort of have on display somewhere, so that if you do get into that mode, you can, and it'll straight away remind you, right, run through these. Yeah. So tapping is also a really, really good one, and there are a few different ways that you can build this in. So in previous videos, we've talked about the karate chop one. So this is something you can do quite quickly, so that I can do this, I will do this, I can do this, I will do this, I can do this, I will do this. Yes. Um, for those of you that haven't been on before, tapping or EFT is where we are tapping on acupuncture or meridian points around our body that basically help us to start rewiring our brain and how we think. It is a really effective, quick technique for you to sort of get you out of that thing. And again, you can do like the karate chop is something you can do quite discreetly while you're out and about if anything gets too much for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one which is just a really basic one, which you will need your input as you're doing it, but it's one you can do wherever you are out and about. Obviously, you can have a one-to-one session where it goes more in depth, and as we work through these things, other things quite often crop up. So when you're doing it with a practitioner, they'll work their way through this with you, and there'll be other techniques that you can build in and use as well. But so the meridian points are, I'm going to start there. So we've got the top of our head, we've got in between the eyes, the side of the eyes, under the eyes, just above your lip, in between your nose and your lip, the chin, just above there. You've got on your collarbone, just there, and it's under the armpit as well. There's lots on the fingers, but they're the main ones sort of on the sort of top part of your body. So how does it work? So you start off by tapping in the position. So even though, and then you say put a statement on how I feel. So even though I'm feeling anxious, I totally accept myself. Even though I'm feeling a bit scared right now, I totally accept myself. Even though I'm a bit nervous and unsure, I totally accept myself. You just work your way through doing all the tapping things, talking about how it is that you're feeling, and accepting that. Okay, so that is one way that you can do this. Another technique that we can do, and we've done it in a previous one, is a little bit more quicker. You do one round where you talk about how you feel, you do the second round accepting that, and then you do the third round with how that's going to change up. So let's do a quick example of that. If you get any words that you want to suggest, pop them in and I'll build that in. If not, I will just go with the flow. Replace the words with how you feel. Using your own words is how our brains work and how it'll be more effective, because what one word means to me might mean something different to you. So make sure you're using your own words and your own phrases as you're doing this. So usually I start off, if you can, hands on skin, because that does amazing things for you, your well-being straight away. It sort of gives your mind a good boost to do that. Take a nice deep breath in, and then think about on a scale between 1 and 10 on how anxious you are feeling at this moment in time. 1 being really anxious, 10 being I feel fantastic. So we always do that at the beginning, because once we've done the tap, it really helps to sort of see where you are and where you're feeling from that point. So we'll start off with round 1. So I'm going to start at the top of my head. Join in if you want. I'm feeling really anxious today. Yep, really anxious. I feel a bit sick. I'm really worried. I just don't want to get out of bed. Really, really nervous today. Really anxious. But that's okay. I'm only human. We all have bad days. I'm allowed to feel this way. It's okay. It's okay. Give myself permission. Then we do the third round, which is how we want to feel. So again, using the words that you want. But you know what? I'm going to change this. I choose to feel differently. I'm feeling calm. I feel collected. I'm in control. Yeah, I've got this. I've totally got this. Okay, hands back on heart. Take another nice deep breath in. Close your eyes and just again think of where you are on that scale between 1 and 10. And hopefully you have moved up. Now you can do that and repeat that as many times as you need to, using the words that you need to, that resonate with you, and keep doing it until you get up to a number that you're satisfied with. It's the strangest thing, but it really works really quick and really effectively. If any of you just did that and improved with just that one round, please let us know in the comments. It's really effective. It's something I was so surprised at. And there's a wonderful lady called Poppy Delbridge, who I have mentioned before. She does a technique called rapid tapping. She's all over Instagram. She's all over most of the socials, but on Instagram, on a Monday, I think at 11 minutes past 11, she does a free live tap every week. So please go check her out. She did have a podcast. I don't think it's been updated for a while, but it's worth going back and checking those, because she does some in-depth tapping in there, and it can really, really make a difference. So that is EFT or tapping, and it's another really great technique to use. Oh, fantastic! Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. Um, it's brilliant. Honestly, it's absolutely fantastic, and the difference it makes is unbelievable. So, right, that's tapping. So there we go. So we've gone through some breathing techniques, some mindfulness techniques, and some relaxation techniques already. So, what more can I tell you? So, self-care plans or a well-being action plan is something I want to talk to you about next. It's something I'm hoping to do a workshop on at some point. but you can learn a lot about this. If you've been a mental health first aider, you've probably heard about this and picked this up in your training. And you can do one for at work and you can do a separate one for at home. But basically, it is all there to sort of help you plan out your well-being. So you start off by thinking about what it is that you notice in yourself when you're starting to feel anxious. So what are the things that you go, oh, right, hang on a minute, I'm clearly not being myself. So maybe you get a little bit snappish, maybe you get really tired, maybe you get headaches, your stomach doesn't feel great, that type of a thing. So they start thinking of things that trigger in you when you know you're going down that path. The next stage is to see what do you need from people when you are in this mode. Some of us want to be left alone, to just have 5 minutes where you can go out and just sort yourself out, pull out your wellbeing toolkit, do whatever it is that you need to. Some of you may need other things. In work, it might be different. So it might be, that you need a quiet space. When you're in these sort of phrases at home, you might actually need someone to sit and talk to. Everybody is different, and everything will be different for each of us. But this is what the action plan is about. It's about identifying our triggers. It's about saying what it is that we need from other people so that they can help and support. And you share this with your friends, your family, so everybody knows and can support you in the way that you need. And then finally, you've got to look at the tools that you need to use in order to get you out of that anxious state. So again, it could be something that we've talked about today. It could be something completely different. Another great thing is you could do a well-being box and have a box of things where you put in whenever you're feeling anxious, whenever you're feeling stressed, that you can go to and dip into this box whenever you're in that position. And you can build that into your action plan. You might even want to put a copy of your action plan in that box. Use your different senses to put things in. Is there a particular material that feels really nice to you? Maybe there's a smell that brings you down. Maybe you've got a playlist you want to put in there to remind you that you can listen to some music and that'll switch your mood up instantaneously. Get a well-being box, put all these things in there and have it as a reminder. You could really put some love into it. You can get these plain boxes from anywhere now, like the Works or Amazon or wherever, and you can decorate it for yourself and put all these amazing things in that just make you feel good. It might be a photo, maybe something visual, anything. Yeah, affirmations, whatever. Put up it in this box. And the idea of the wellbeing action plan is that you then have that toolkit, that box to go to when you are feeling anxious or not yourself, or you can feel yourself getting a bit stressed. Yeah, but that action plan is there to share with friends, to share with family, to share with colleagues, to share with your manager, to say, right, when I am in this place, this is what I need in order to get there. So people are aware. It adds a little bit of understanding. How many times have we been snappish with people when we've not been feeling great? They don't know what's going on in our heads because we've not shared it, kept it to ourselves. We quite often do when we're anxious. Yeah, it's about sort of that communication, having that support of people without them having to go, what's the matter with you? Are you okay? Because that again can trigger a lot more of things. So just have that well-being action plan in place. If you look online, you will be able to find templates of this everywhere. I'm hoping to put one on into my free resources at some point soon as well. As I say, we're sort of working and developing on getting some kind of a workshop to talk people through this. I have done one of these workshops before and it has really helped the people that were on it. We talked about lots of different wellbeing tools so they can think of things to add to it as well. But it's just there to have sort of a little self-care plan for yourself when you're in these anxious times, these stressful times, and you can go back to it. So that's that. Okay. Another great thing to do, and one thing that I don't think we do enough, is a boost book. This is something I started a while ago because, again, when we're in these anxious states, we tend to focus on the negative quite frequently. And, that's the bit, if we latch onto it and then our brain goes down that path and that's all we can do is the negative all the time. We need to change that up. We need to start focusing on the positive, and you will find there are more positive and happy things that happen to you than you realize. So, having this thing called a boost book, make it any book you like. It can be a plain notebook, it can be whatever you want. Get something fancy if you want. We all like a good notebook, don't we? I think I've got hundreds of them. Yeah, get a nice positive notebook and in there, put in there, anytime you get a thank you, you've made an achievement, a compliment, anything positive, write it down in that book. Then at the end of the day, the end of the week, look back. Because quite often we might have 20 things that have happened that have all been positive and one negative thing, and that'll be the one thing that we focus on is this person said this and I didn't like it. Yeah, we need to switch it up. This is what the idea of a boost book is. Again, things like gratitude and positivity diaries, thinking of 3 things every day that have happened that we are grateful for. Yeah, you do it in the morning to start your day off right. You can do it at the end of the day to sort of give yourself a nice time to sort of relax and sleep and think, yeah, these great things happen to me. We do have them. There are things to be grateful for, even if it's getting up and getting out of bed because you've been feeling so anxious and so tired that you can't do it anymore. Be grateful for it. Another day, a cup of tea, just being grateful for that first morning cup of tea or coffee. Yeah. I had a fantastic massage yesterday and I am ever so grateful and I needed it more than I thought I did. And I've showed that gratitude and I remember it because I feel great today and I've had the best night's sleep I've had in months. So be grateful. There are things to be grateful for. The people in our lives, the wonderful building that we are living in, everything. So 3 things you are grateful for. You want to do, pop it in the comments now if you want. Get it out of the way. Let's get this positivity flowing. 3 things you are grateful for every single day. Write them down. You could have a gratitude jar, you could pop them in, and every month look at it at the end of the month or at the end of the year, whatever you want. There are ways to do this. So please, boost books, positivity diary, gratitude diary or jar, whatever it is that you want. These are all things that remind us of the present moment and remind us of the positive things in our lives. I quite like these t-shirts and jumpers that people are going around wearing that say all the nice things, and to the person behind me, they're fantastic. Do you know what I mean? It's just giving somebody else a boost as well as giving yourself one. So it works both ways. Journaling and mood trackers. Again, this might not be for everybody, but it might work for you, and it's about finding what works for you. So journaling, you could color code your journal with how the day's been. You know, red maybe if it's been not such a great day, green if it's been a fantastic day, whatever color code you want to do a little thing, and then you can check yourself and you'll see that there's probably more positive days than you think there are. And when you're doing these things like tracking your moods, look for trends, look for anything in common. So what is it that day was green? What is it I did that day that was so brilliant? Oh, I went and met with my friend. Fantastic. And this day was red. What did I do on that? Oh well, I didn't do anything. I scrolled on social media all day. All right, well maybe I need to back off social media a bit because on the days I haven't done that, it's been better. Yeah. So by tracking these things, by looking at these journals and mood trackers, there's apps out there. You could just do it yourself in a diary. Do you know what I mean? It's not hard to do. Do it on your mobile if you want. You've got a calendar on there. Just look for trends. What did you do that day that had that impact? And then build more of it into your life if it's a positive thing, and see what you need to shy away from if it's a negative thing. Yeah. I don't know if you've all heard of the Wheel of Life or Wheel of Wellbeing. So it's basically about looking at the different areas of your life and how satisfied you are in those areas. Maybe satisfied isn't the word, but how much you've got in those areas. So things like work, family, finance, health, friends, romance, personal growth, fun and recreation, the environment that you're in. Look at all those different topics. Again, you can find all this online. Just search Wheel of Life and it will give you links to all the information that's there, and just score yourself, I think, between 1 and 10 on how you think you're doing in that area of your life. By doing this, it will let you know what areas you might want to work on. Some of them you might be quite happy with and say, actually, I'm fine with it being at that number. That's okay. But it might be, say, you do a lot of work and you might have all your things in the work area, but in terms of personal growth and fun and recreation, they're really low, and that's something you want to change. It gives you a really good guide and a good sort of snapshot of where you are at this time. So have a look, see what areas you want to work on this year. Have a look at all the different wellbeing tools. Is there any of them that can help you get to where you need to go? We did a whole live not that long back on goals and mindset. Go back, check it out, look at all the resources on that. If it is something you truly want to build into your life, then guess what? You can do it. You will make time to do it. and having that mindset will help. So go back and check all that stuff out. But yeah, a wheel of life or wheel of well-being. Have a look, see where you are, give yourself sort of score and everything. And it's not brilliant. It doesn't have to be perfect, and don't be cruel to yourself about any of it, because it's not about punishing yourself. It's all about seeing what areas you want to work on and what areas will help boost your well-being. It's all about balance. And with something like anxiety, balance is so important. It's making sure we've ticking the boxes in all those areas in our lives where we want to achieve in, where we want to be happy in, where we want to do things in. If you are focusing all of your time on work and nothing else, then we are going to have those anxious thoughts. If we're doom scrolling on social media all the time instead of going out, meeting up with friends, getting that fresh air, being out in nature, that is going to have an impact. Yeah. So have a look at that and see if any of that ticks any boxes for you. So we're coming towards the last 15 minutes now. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is movement and activity. Now, I was listening to a podcast the other day. I think it was on the Happiness Lab by Dr. Laurie Santos, and she was talking to an expert on there. And I think I also saw it in some other training I did on mindfulness and mental health. And it was all talking about how when you're in an anxious state, moving, doing something physical really, really helps. So, number one, it helps you focus on what you're doing. So, going for a run, going for a walk, whatever it is, doing a dance, whatever, doesn't matter. Just moving your body, doing something physical. When we get in that flight or flight, all these hormones are released in our body and we can pretty much freeze up ourselves. So by having that movement, you're allowing your body to get that oxygen. You're moving all of those negative things out of your system and you are focusing on doing something else. It's that being in that present moment, that distraction. So whether it's walking, whether it's running, whether it's swimming, it doesn't matter. If you can get it out in nature, do it out in nature. That has the extra impact and well-being boost for you as well. Gets rid of any of the adrenaline, it increases serotonin, it does all these positive things for you. You know, maybe you want to add a community element to it, join a group, see what's out there. It's a local walking group, a local running group, a team of people that get together to swim. Get a friend involved. Building in that extra bit of community can make such a difference. But when you are in that anxious state, when you are in that fight or flight, that freeze, you need to do something physical to just get it out of your system. Even if you want to do breath work or whatever, initially, do the movement first. Get your body moving, get those things working out your system, and then add breath work at the end of it or a meditation at the end of it. No problem. Thank you for joining me, Caroline. Lovely to see you. So, yeah, get your body moving, get active, get out there and just do something to sort of make a real big difference. Just even shake it off if you have to. You've heard Taylor Swift. Get on with it, shake it off, get it out your system, release it. Yeah, movement is so important. And I'm not saying you have to go to the gym, I'm not saying anything like that. Just get up and move. However, you want to walk up and downstairs, it doesn't make a difference. Just that movement will make such a change when you're in that anxious state. So, if you can get on and do that, that's fantastic. Talked about being out in nature. Another thing that's becoming quite popular now, I believe the Japanese are bringing it in, and I've seen quite a lot of things advertised locally for this, is forest bathing. So it's about being out there in nature and getting the benefits from that. Yeah, there's a lot more to do with this. In fact, I think the lovely lady that I met, Scented Smellies, she has a lovely well-being range of different smells, and she talks a lot about this forest bathing and the benefits that can have. She's a really interesting lady to speak to, and she's got a lot of knowledge in that area. So again, please do go check her out. Well, forest bathing is just another way to get out there in nature, going out and doing a bit of grounding. I know it's not the best of weathers, but having your feet touching the floor without a rubber sole in between it can be a really good experience and can really ground you. There's lots and lots of studies done where a grounding has made such a big difference, not only to people's sleep, to people's anxieties and everything. You can actually get kits now that you can put in your beds and all sorts of things to sort of bring in that grounding element. There was a whole documentary done on it. Please go check that out. It was absolutely fascinating. I've got loads of books and I am going to look into this a lot more. But grounding's a great thing to do. And forest bathing, as I say, is another one. think about the food and drink that you have. I'm not on here to preach on anything, um, but it does have a massive impact on our mental health and on anxiety. Caffeine, alcohol, the food we eat, it all has an impact if we are putting things into our bodies that aren't doing the things we need them to, that aren't releasing those healthy, happy, nurturing hormones of ours. It can have an impact. Things like vitamins and omega 3s and all that is fantastic for you. I know whenever I'm doing any workouts, I'm looking at foods that help with muscle repair. So whenever I am doing any form of movement or exercise, I'll make sure I'm eating more of those types of foods that I know are going to support the healing of my body so that I can do more and I can be more active. Things like Epsom salts, they've got magnesium in them. You know, soaking your feet in them or having a bath in nice Epsom salts just helps with the energy levels. There's so much research done into this type of thing. Please go and check them out. And even just digesting properly. You know, we've talked before about mindful eating. So that's just allowing your body to digest the food properly can make a massive difference to us. How often do we just sit and throw the food in our mouths because we're too busy doing work or we're too busy sorting the kids out or something else is going on? We're not concentrating on what we're doing. We're not concentrating on that food. Number one, it's not giving our bodies chance to digest everything properly, but it's also not giving the signal between our brain and our stomach that we're full. It takes longer to do that. So how often have you eaten a meal and go, oh, I'm still hungry, and then you've gone and snacked? Well, your body's not had time to adjust and digest. So mindful eating is a great way to build that in, to sort of help calm that nervous system, to be in the present moment and to focus on what you're doing. Tasting the proper flavours of your food, chewing it a lot. So 10 to 20 times with one mouthful, chewing it, savouring it, getting the flavour. That is so important. Savouring is another thing whilst we are on the topic. It's about being in the present moment, savouring what you are doing, the people that you are with. So, again, I've had a lot of conversations about this recently, and people were saying, it's not even just about savouring for you. Same bit like Christmas. We've not had Christmas that long away. So, being able to savour it for other people. So your children, your nieces, your nephews, by you being present in that moment, by you paying that full attention, that's a memory they're going to have a long time of the fun they've had with you by you being there and in that moment. Again, being out on a beautiful day, hearing the waves crashing on a beach when you're on holiday, just savor that time. Focus on that moment. How are you feeling? Take it all in. Look around you, absorb it, use all that wonderful sensory system that we've got. Savouring is so, so important. And as we say, it brings you to the present moment, to the now. Tells your mind that everything's okay. And that's what we need when we've got an anxious mind. So, yeah, I'm just going to mention another book, just a couple of books before we run out of time. So, this one is Anxiety by Debbie Marco. And again, it's another great book. It talks a little bit about anxiety, what it is. Um, then it also gives you a few exercises, techniques, some quotes, and things like that. So, again, that's a good little book if you're just starting off. And I've also got this mindfulness book. So, mindfulness is a great thing to do to help deal with anxiety. So this is Mindfulness by Tessa Watt. And as you can see, again, lots of lovely techniques and things in here. She talks about her own experience. She breaks down the exercises. There's even lines in the book where you can write things down. Um, some of the things we've covered today, some of them, lots of other techniques in there as well. So yeah, go check this out. It's more like a sort of little journal thing that you can write in. I mean, me, sacrilegious to write in books for me, but you can do it on a notepad, you can do it wherever you like, it's no problem. But yeah, check that one out. So we've had some podcasts shared. There's also, I'll just quickly mention before we run out of time, Dr. Laurie Santos, who does the Happiness Lab podcast. She also has a course, which I have done myself, on the science of happiness. It's, I want to say, 12-week course where basically you sort of school yourself at the start, and then each week she gives you different things to do and to try. She talks about them. She gives you the science behind why they work, and then you have a week to do that practice, and then the following week you go on and do the next one. You could do it all at once if you want to, but that's not the point. The point is to build in these different well-being tools to get you where you need to go. So check that out. It's completely free. I think it's on Coursera, I want to say, is where I picked it up. But if you just put Dr. Laurie Santos Yale um, happiness course, it will come up. It was a great one to do. I did it during COVID, during the pandemic, and it was a great way to sort of learn the techniques and to understand the science behind them and why they work. Hers is one of the most popular classes that's ever been taught at Yale. I think a quarter of the students have opted to do it. So it really does make a difference. And then at the end, you score yourself again and you can see the progress that you've made. And again, it's like a big sort of research project as well, doing it. So there's that. Check out my website. Tim's thankfully put on the link for you for free resources. As I say, I will keep adding more to these as we go along. If you're interested in meditation, I have a free meditation training as well that you can go and have a look. Talks about all the different types of meditation. I've got a subscription group if you really want interested in any of the guided meditations. I do that quite often. So again, just pop in the notes and we will send you links to everything and give you more details. As you all know, we are doing this for Mind. We are doing this for suicide prevention and to raise money. So if you can give anything, please do. If you found any of this useful, please pop on and give a donation to them. 1 in 4 people struggle with poor mental health every year. 1 in 15 commit suicide or try to commit suicide in their lifetime. It's such an important thing. And Mind are working towards this, looking to prevent it, to raise awareness. And this is what all these lives are in aid of. So please, if you can, donate, drop anything for. Next week is our last one, so it's number 4 of 4, and I am going to do that on the topic of sleep. It is a topic that everybody struggles with at some point in their lives, and there are so many things that we can do to help improve sleep. I've done training with Sleep Talkers, which is a wonderful charity, which is about getting the information out there about what we can do to improve our sleep, getting conversations going, sharing resources, sharing information with each other. If someone says, "Oh, I'm really struggling sleeping," for you to have the resource to go, "Oh, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that?" That type of thing. So yeah, so we're going to talk all about sleep next Sunday at 10 o'clock. Whew. So, a lot of information to take in there. Thank you all so much for joining. I think this is the most people we've had live. So that's brilliant. And thank you for participating. It means the world to me. It really, really does. If we can just help one person with one of these techniques, then that's my job done. And I feel happy and helpful. So, yeah, so please feel free to join us next week. If you've got any questions on anxiety or you're interested in any of the topics that we've talked about today, please do put in the comments. I will spend the next week sharing resources all about anxiety. So you can dip in and out if you've not watched this live. If you haven't watched this live, watch the recording, save it for later. Please share it with a friend or your community if you think this has been useful for you and there's been some helpful techniques in there. That'd be great. And do look back at our past lives. The first one was on mindset and goals. Last week's was on confidence and self belief. Obviously, this week we've done anxiety, and next week we'll be on sleep. Thank you for joining me. I'm so pleased for you all. Have a fantastic weekend. Really enjoyed doing this, and yeah, last one next week. So, yeah, have a fantastic time, and I will catch you soon. Oh, and if you've not joined the 30-day confidence challenge yet from last week, please do. Let's boost that confidence. Let's help yourselves. Even if you've got anxiety, it's a great one to do. Check it out. Join me. You don't have to do it at the same time as me. Jump in whenever you want. Okay, have a good Sunday. I'm going to let you go. All right, everyone.